So welcome to page 45 instruction. There is a check left over from where we left off on page 44 that's on the top of page 45. So we're just going to use the algorithm to go ahead and solve that check problem to see if you can get the same answers. So I'm hoping that you'll pause the video and then try it yourself and challenge yourself to make sure that you get this, and then replay the video to see what happens. So my whole number has to be placed over 1. And then I do what I call keep, change, flip. So I can multiply my whole number over 1 in fraction form by the reciprocal of the divisor. So what's going to happen is the first fraction stays the same. I change division to multiplication, and then I flip my divisor to be 5 over 2. At this point, I look for cross reduction, which I have. The greatest common factor between 2 and 4 would be 2. So I'm going to write my new problem. I'm preparing for incoming. 2 divided by 2 would be 2. My 1 stays the same. My 5 stays the same. 2 divided by 2 becomes a 1. So I multiply across the top and then across the bottom and simplify. I'm hoping you got 10 for your answer. The next example 5 is dividing whole numbers by fractions. And it starts out at a summer camp. The duration of each activity is 3/4 of an hour long. The camp counselors have set aside 4 hours in the afternoon for activities. So you're going to find the quotient of 4 divided by 3/4, and then we're going to interpret the quotient. So method 1 is using a model. And I would model drawing 4 bar graphs, which they've done here. Then I would break the 4 bar graphs up into 4 pieces, because now I'm looking at my divisor and my denominator. And that's what they've done here. And then I would shade 3 of the 4 and find out how many groups of 3 I can make. And that's what they've done here. So now we're going to identify the groups. Here's 3 of the 4. Here's 3 of the 4. Here's 3 of the 4. And here's 3 of the 4. And here's 3 of the 4. Uh-oh. I have 1 left over. Now, in order to figure out how I write that as a fractional part, I have to ask myself, well, how many did I put in each group? I put 3 in each group. That's how I know that I didn't have enough to make a whole entire group. I had 1 left over when it takes 3 to make a group. And so that explains why your fractional denominator is different. And just below this in the book, they have all of this labeled, your groups. We did that by circling and talking about it through it. So there are how many whole groups? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole groups of the 3 that I gathered. And then there is 1 section left over. So I already explained how the denominator changed to 3 because there's 1 section left over when I was grouping them up into groups of 3. Okay, so the answer is going to be 5 whole groups and 1/3 left over. So on page 46, we're going to do this using the algorithm. Let me cover this up. It's just a little bit too much at one time. Here's the same equation, 4 divided into 3/4 of an hour, okay? Or the activities. Each activity was 3/4 of an hour. They want to know how many activities that they can do. Well, they can do 5 full activities, but then that 1/3, they're not going to have enough time to do another activity. So I'm going to rewrite the problem, and the first thing I do is I change this whole number into a fraction. by placing it over 1. And then I have that written right there, and I need to flip this because this is where keep, change, flip comes into. See where the division changes to multiplication? And now I need to flip that divisor. Okay. I look for cross reduction. I don't have any cross reduction, so I'm going to move on. I write the problem out so it's nice and neat. So it's going to be 4 times 4 for the numerator and 1 times 3 for the denominator. And you get 16 pieces when it takes 3 pieces to make a whole. And that's when simplification brings you down to 5 wholes and 1 piece left over when there was 3 pieces that you were gathering. So that means that you can have 5 complete activities with a little bit of time left over. Okay, so the quotient is 5 1/3. So the campers can complete 5 activities in those 4 hours. Can't do anything with that 1/3. That's not enough time. Okay, so here's the check. And I'm hoping that you're going to pause right now, and then you're going to check to see if you can do this on your own. Kendall has a 9-foot long piece of wood that she wants to cut and build some 5-6-foot long shelves for his bedroom. So what we're going to do is we're going to find 9 divided by 5, 6, and then we're going to interpret the quotient. So pause the video at this point, and then whenever you complete the problem, go ahead and push play again. And again, this is page 46. 9 divided by 5, 6. I have to place my whole number over 1. And then I'm going to look at keep, change, flip. So that means I keep my first fraction, change my division to multiplication, and now I'm going to flip my divisor. I look for cross reduction. I don't have any. I multiply across the top. 9 times 6 gives me 54. 1 times 5 gives me 5. And then I simplify. How many sets of 5 can I take out of 54? It looks like 10 full pieces with 4 pieces left over. Now I've got to interpret what that means. If it says that he wants to build some 5-6-foot long shelves of his bedroom, how many complete shelves can he build? And the answer is going to be just 10 complete shelves. That 4/5 is a measurement that is going to be too short because you need 5/5 to make a whole group, and that's not going to work. So he only is going to be able to get out of that 9-foot long piece of wood, he's only going to get 10 pieces to make for his bookshelf. And I think that's about it. Okay. Thank you for watching page 46.